Okay, so this is Ed Crow. I show it's 1 o'clock. I will just talk for a minute or so, just so a few more people can come on. I do see a bunch of new names today, so I will give you a brief overview of Crow and Associates, but not long. Trust me, this webinar will probably go no more than 15 minutes. Most of our webinars, I usually keep them 15, no more than 20 minutes, but usually around the 15-minute range. Same thing today. So for those that are new, a couple quick things. We do record all our webinars, and we do webinars every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock on various topics. So if you want to join a future one but you can't make it, just register and you'll get a copy of the recording. And also if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those at the end or try to answer them anyway. So send them into the webinar and I'll answer at the end. Just a quick summary on us. So Crow and Associates, we're an FMO out of Brookfield, Connecticut. We are in all 50 states. We work with all major carriers, like most FMOs. A couple unique things we have is for those of you who like online enrollment, we have both Connect for Medicare and Sunfire. So we give you access to both systems at no cost. We have a full quote engine, quote and comparison engine separate from that will quote all lines of business that you can access regardless if you have those carriers with us or not, or those lines of business with us or not. So you can go and quote long-term care, Medicare Advantage, Supplement Part D, annuities, term, UL, indemnity, hospital indemnity, dental. It'll quote all companies for everything. So you would have access to those programs. Another program you have access that I'm going to talk about today is our free Medicare lead program. It's unique in the industry. I think you'll see that when we go through it. It is pretty basic, and I'm going to talk about it today. So to get started here, we'll talk about the free lead program and the payment amounts, what costs are eligible for it, the requirements to participate in it, and then I'll kind of briefly go over a couple slides on ways to use the program. To be honest, I had planned on getting rid of those slides before this presentation, but didn't get around to it. So we'll briefly go over those, and then I'll answer questions at the end. Okay, so get us started here. And again, I see a bunch of people joining. This webinar will only be about 15 minutes long. So the way our program works is, and again, we're an FMO, so we give you full access to all contracts. When I talk about this program, there is no reduction in commission. It's full street. You're paid by the carriers. We do not own your book. So this isn't a situation where we're paying you. Just like most of you are probably used to, you're being paid direct by the carrier. If you're a street agent with us, you'll get the full CMS allowable commission. If you're a GA, MGA, SGA, we support all those levels. Even one FMO, you'll get the full comp for any of those applicable levels. So this does not affect that whatsoever. So the way our program works is it provides a monthly reimbursement of Medicare lead, marketing, or advertising costs for Medicare. Now, we write all lines of business, Medicare, final expense, term, UL, annuities. For example, you have full access to Annuity Rate Watch through us at no cost, but our lead program only reimburses for Medicare costs. So the way it works is pretty straightforward. Agents and agencies that work with us, each licensed agent has access of a reimbursement of 100% of costs up to $500 a month, and that is for the first 6 months. It starts after your contracts are active with us and after you take your first lead reimbursement. So quite simply, the way it would work in the first 6 months is you have your contracts with us, you're ready to go, you buy Medicare leads from any company you want, don't care who it is, any kind of lead you want, as long as it's for Medicare, or maybe you do advertising or marketing, whatever it is, you take your paid receipt, you simply send us your paid receipt and we'll reimburse 100% of your cost up to $500 per month for the first 6 months. After 6 months, then the program continues for as long as you're with us, but it then goes after 6 months to a 50% reimbursement, but still up to $500 a month paid to you. So in other words, for the first 6 months, if somebody was spending $500 a month, you'd get $500 back. For the after 6 months and thereafter, to get $500 back from us, you'd have to spend at least $1,000 because it's a 50% match. Payments are made twice a month. They're made direct deposit to your account. This is available to every agent that has all their contracts with us for Medicare. Now, we certainly would like you to have your final expense, because we think we're competitive in all areas, but certainly would like to have you have your final expense, your term UL with us, but that's not required. To get paid on the Medicare Lead program, you just have to have your Medicare contracts with us. And again, no reduction in comp, it's full commission. We will match whatever level somebody has. If they're a GA, MGA, SGA, no problem. And this is available to each agent. And if you're an agency, it's available to every sub-agent in your agency as well. This is per person. The only caveat with that is if you're an agency, and we get this a lot, let's say you're an agency with 20 subs. And let's say 15 of your subs are taking advantage of this program every month. We can't pay every reimbursement to one account. We have to pay it to all the different individual accounts. So that's one thing, is we cannot load one account up with multiple payments. For auditing purposes, it looks bad when it comes to being compliant with the rules as an upline in FMO. But anyway, if you have a number of sub-agents, they each can participate. We just have to pay it to separate accounts for them. There is no catch to our program. There's no reduction in commission payments. You own your own book. You're paid direct. The carriers still pay you like normal. And the big thing is we have no minimums to start. I think the other companies that do lead co-ops or advertising or marketing co-ops, they'll say, okay, write 10 cases and then we'll co-op you. With us, you can start, you could have not written a single case with us. As long as you have your Medicare contracts with us, you're eligible for the program, starting from day one. So no minimums to start. What kind of costs are eligible for this program? So pretty much anything, as long as it's for Medicare. So any company you want, we don't care who the company is. If you want us to recommend some companies, we can. We certainly have some really good deals with lead companies. I'll mention a few in a few minutes. But you could do mailers, online leads, phone leads, Facebook ads, advertisements, newspaper ads. We'll help with seminar costs, telemarketers, predictive dialers. Whatever it is, as long as it's to generate Medicare sales, we'll reimburse it for you. You'd be eligible for the program. Completely up to you which companies you want to use for the program. I do get the question a lot, well, Ed, what if I'm only appointed with 3 Medicare carriers? That's fine with us. As long as they're with us, if we're the upline on those, that is fine. What if there's a really kind of outside of the box lead approach I want to take that I want to spend money on? Well, talk to us about it. If it's something that's going to generate Medicare sales, there's a good chance we'll be fine with it. And again, I've had a lot of people come on since we started. If you have questions, please send them into the webinar and I will answer at the end for you. And we will record this webinar and send out the recording to everybody that registers. Okay, so requirements for this. Again, no minimums to start, but the one thing we have to have is your active Medicare Advantage, PDP, and supplement contracts have to be with us. Again, we won't reduce your comp. You're going to get paid by the carrier just like normal. But they have to be with us. If you can't get a release, don't worry. When you do finally are able to move the contracts with us, you can then start the lead reimbursement program, and it won't start until you take your first reimbursement. So the clock won't run out on you. As I mentioned before, we certainly offer all lines of business. Our quote engine will quote all of them, quote and compare all of them for you with all the carriers. But those other lines are not a requirement to use our lead program. So for those who are using the lead program, you simply would buy the leads, buy the marketing, whatever it is. You take your paid receipt, you fax it to our office or email it to Lisa. Only rule with the receipt is it's got to be paid. It's got to show that it's for Medicare, and we got to have it within 30 days of it being paid. So pretty simple and straightforward. Once in a while, somebody will say, well, what if I'm paying a telemarketer? So the telemarketer doesn't specify it's Medicare. Well, have us get a copy, send us a copy of the phone script or something. I just need something to tie it back saying, yes, I'm just reimbursing for Medicare generation, sales generation. It's not for another line of business. We'll reimburse one type of expense per month. So, for example, if you're doing, $1,000 of phone leads and $250 of mailers, you'd want to send us the more expensive one type per month. So you'd send us the phone lead expense, and and we would reimburse that. What we will do is, again, there's no minimums to start our program, but if we're reimbursing you and we don't see any production for 3 months, I'm going to give you a call at that point. We'll have a review, we'll talk and see what's going on. Because obviously, if there's no sales being made, we're going to want to know why and what's happening. So 3 months, no production on our program, I'm going to call you, we're going to see what's going on. It might be something as obvious as, hey, I'm working T65s and I'm going 12 months out, Ed. So we could talk about that, see if that's the case, fine. Once in a while, though, somebody will say, well, I bought 3 months worth of leads and I haven't worked them yet. I'm obviously not going to be okay with that. So in that situation, I'd probably say, well, we're going to put this on hold until you work them and get some sales coming in. But again, we would discuss it. All right, ways to use the program. These are the slides I'm going to kind of skip over a little bit. These are just to give you examples. Maybe you want to mail an existing book. That's fine. If you want to mail an existing book, that's great, but you need to use a vendor to do that. So use a mail order vendor to mail that book because we need the receipt from the mail order vendor. You can't expense. We won't do $500 worth of stamps or $500 worth of printed letters. Use a company that does the mailings for you, and that way you can get a receipt and send it to us. You can use a company for T65 mail drops. Just a quick word of advice there. We have a lot of agents that do a lot of mail. If you're doing mail drops, you really should go anywhere from 6 to even 12 months out now to get a decent response. Really, the sweet spot's about 8 to 12 months, because that way you can still get a 3, 4, 5% return on mailers. If you mail people turning 65 0 to 6 months out, your return is going to be very low. Of course, we have a lot of people that do 66 plus mail drops. That's fine. We have a program where you can actually buy mail responders from a company. So instead of charging you per 1,000, you can actually just buy the responder for $16 to $18 from them. One thing I'll add in here that isn't here is we also have a telemarketing, a MedSup company that does telemarketed leads. They record every call. They send you the recording for you to call back in, and the recording sent to you same day. They're exclusive. They're sent to you and they're $10 a piece. So that price point we found is really good, and agents are closing them. They're having success with them. We've been using them for a while now. So we do have telemarketed MedSup leads, exclusive, recorded. The orders filled, sent to you the same day. Those leads have been working, and those are $10 a piece. So you could buy those from that company and then submit us the receipt for reimbursement. And then we see people use it for all kinds of things: Facebook ads, print ads, online leads. Facebook ads, if done incorrectly, Facebook ads can be a waste of money. If you do them well, especially if you do them regionally, if the ad is simple, you got to keep it simple. They will work well. Print ads, we don't see as much of that anymore, but some people still run one every single month, and they submit that to our program. That is fine. Just know print ads aren't going to give you an instant return. There's something that needs to be done over a long period of time. And of course, online leads. We have a full module on online leads. They've got to be worked very specifically to have success with them. I talk to tons of agents that say, I worked online leads, they suck. Actually, if they're done right, very specifically, they can work. Some of our top people that work with us, that we're the upline for, that's all they do is online leads, and they do it too. Some of them are prolific producers, so they can work really well. But there's a really detailed, specific way you got to go about it. A lot of people do preset appointments, pre-qualified appointments, as I mentioned earlier. We got a price point at $10 right now with the company we use. We use a couple of them, in fact, we can recommend. But again, you can use any company you want. There's some people that do predictive dialers. If you're into that, you certainly could submit that expense. We have a discounted price with Prospect Boss, but you could use whoever you want. I mentioned a 3-line dialer in there. I know some agents use 5-line dialers. That's always been beyond my capability, but certainly that's available. Seminar costs, we've done plenty of reimbursements for those over the years. A couple ways to use the program. A big one is, of course, as a producer, it's just nice because you can work leads and we'll reimburse you for them, like I said earlier. However, agencies use them a lot. What they do is they combine everything we offer. So they use our lead program. We're the only upline I know right now that has both Connect for Medicare and Sunfire at no cost. You have access to both programs for online enrollment. The full-fledged quote engine, complete back office support, contracting support. For people who still do paper applications, we process those. Compliance, we have a compliance officer. We have access to anything you would need, all lines of business. And they take all those things, package them up, and they use that to recruit agents. Now, they act like the lead program's their own. Crow is financing it, but who cares? That's fine. If you're a sub-agency of ours, whatever we can do. And that way, as an agency, you can be offering more value than the other agencies you're competing with to recruit agents. And you can say to them, look, we've got a lead program. Show them the details. Use that to recruit. We'll pay for it. It's just a way to separate your agency from all the other agencies out there. The other big one they push is, for those not familiar, Connect for Medicare and Sunfire both have consumer-facing URLs that are tailored specific to the agent. And those obviously are very helpful to put on a website, on email, so prospects can go on, quote, compare, save drug lists, do all those things. And if they enroll, you get credit for the sale. So basically what I'm saying, long story short, any other way you want to prospect, you can use our lead program. And I do see we're getting some questions. I will answer those in just a minute here because we're just about wrapped up. Again, as long as it's sell Medicare, though, you can use the program. All right, that's it. Really short and quick. Just wanted to review the program for you. And let's see if we have some questions at this point, if I'm smart enough to access them. Okay. Okay, so somebody said, I'd like to get more information about this, and I'd like to know about your quoting system. Sure. If you don't mind, just send me an email, edward@croneassociates.com. I do see your name, so I will go back and look at the email you used when you registered. Be happy to send you information about it. I'll send you information about Connect for Medicare, Connecture, Sunfire, and our quote system as well. So show you information on both. Somebody said, what is Sunfire and what is Connecture? So there's two companies that provide online enrollment, national companies, where you can log in, you have access to them, and you can save drug lists, save client information, and you can email and text scope of appointment forms, and enrollments, electronic enrollments for all the major companies to prospects from that one system. And it's not face-to-face. It's made for over the phone or just electronic communication, but it's online enrollment, CMS approved with all the major carriers for Advantage, Part D, and Supplement. And they also, both systems give you your own website as well. So that's a consumer-facing site. We would be happy to send you demonstrations, recorded demos on both Sunfire and Connecture if you'd like. Can multiple receipts be submitted in a given month, assuming same source of leads? Sure, as long as it's the same company, same source, you certainly, but you just want to send us the receipts at once. So maybe you do 2 orders during the month, that's fine, but just send us one batch of receipts just one time. Somebody said, please send me info. Noted. I will send you that information. What's my next question here? So I joined a few minutes late. If you are reimbursing for leads, how do you make your profit and how much? So that's a really good question. For that, the person that sent that question, I do record these webinars. I'll send you the recording. Well, we're an upline. We're an FMO, so we get overrides like all FMOs do. We're just a little different that we're spending a lot of that money on our lead program. It's one of our biggest expenses, but we find the agents write more business with it. And quite frankly, we use it as a way to separate ourselves from the other uplines. So it's a big expense for us, but it sets us apart from the other uplines out there. Let's see, next question. Not being certified for Med Advantage, can an agent use your program? If you want to use our free lead program, yes. You can use it if you're just selling supplements. However, one just tip I would give you there is if you do United Healthcare, for example, they don't require AHIP. So you just do United Cert. So if you want one advantage to sell, you could use United. Also Humana. If you're selling Humana supplements, it's the same contract, and their certification, they do require AHIP, but their certification is just an attestation. So there's a couple ways you could offer advantage plans with very little certification if you want. Okay, good questions. Next question. Does Sunfire and Connecture have provider and facility lookups? Yes, absolutely. You can save drug lists for each client, run the drugs against all the plans, Advantage Supplement or Advantage in Part D, save the list and edit it for future use in future years. So yes, certainly it does that. And then for doctor lookups, Sunfire will let you run a list of doctors, and then it will show you for each plan automatically, for each plan you're looking at, which doctors are in that network. So you don't even have to look at multiple plans or run multiple doctor lists, and you can save them. And Connector is going to be able to do that soon as well. Next question. Are Sunfire and Connector both getting real-time updates directly from the carriers? Yes. Quick answer there. Are Sunfire and Connector both HIPAA compliant? Yes. They're CMS and HIPAA compliant. So yes, good question. Somebody said they'd like to get more information about this and know more about the quoting system. Sure, that is fine. Just email me. Okay, we got a few more questions here, and then I will wrap up for us. Let's see. So does that mean I would have to contract through your agent directly? No, what that means is we would need to be your upline. So you're not contracting with us per se. You're contracting with the carriers, but we are your upline. So you're still getting paid direct by the carriers. You still own your own book of business. You can still see your whole book of business, but we're your upline as opposed to whoever is your upline now. And if you're writing a company, let's say like United Healthcare, they require an upline. So whether you realize it or not, you do have an upline currently. Send the recording, please. Certainly will do. And then just two more questions. What companies are considered being most competitive? It depends on your state. I mean, in general, United, Aetna, Humana, and the Blues will be competitive, but it certainly depends on the state you're in. Another question is, to use the lead program, do you need all my med subcontracts? Also, yes, we require any Medicare Advantage, PDP, and subcontracts you have that you're ready to sell with. We'd be the upline on them to use the lead program. Now, one quick thing is we certainly have a lot of agents that don't bring some contracts to us. They don't use the lead program, but they still have access to both Connector, Sunfire, our quote system, and everything else. They just don't have the lead program. So, we'll work with agents that have just one contract with us. That is absolutely fine. And you have access to absolutely everything except for the lead program in that scenario. So yes, great questions today, guys. I really appreciate the questions. Again, if you have any questions, just send us an email. Any additional questions, I'd be happy to send you more information on our lead program if you'd like, information on any of our other systems as well. So I really appreciate you joining us today. Like I said, I try to keep these relatively short. I went over by a few minutes, and we do these every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock on various topics. So thanks for joining. Send questions in if any other ones come up. I got one more quick one. After the 12 months up, are there any other lead programs for agents? So our lead program never ends. It's 100% for 6 months, and then it's 50% reimbursement thereafter. So not just for another 6 months, for as long as you're with us and have your contracts with us. So that doesn't go away, the 50% reimbursement. Okay? All right, thank you. Looks like that's it. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.